Okay, now we're going to shift gears, and I got to tell you about a really awesome author event that is coming to Branford on Thursday. And we're so fortunate right now to be joined by Matt Grace. He is a former addict as well as an addiction expert, and a recovering addict, I should say. And he just wrote a book called God Doesn't Relapse, Sex, Drugs, and the Life That Almost Killed Me. He's going to be speaking from 6 to 7 tomorrow at the Root Center for Advanced Recovery. That's the Branford Clinic. So, Matt, first and foremost, I got to get this out of the way. I've been following you on social media, and what a wild life you lived. You basically acknowledge you were addicted to just about everything, and yet somehow you've come out on the other side.
Yes, that's right. And one of the reasons why I wrote my book was to help families. I dedicated my life of 21 years of sobriety to be of service because I believe I was spared for a reason. Many of my childhood friends are dead, and I didn't want them to die in vain. And I think one of the most important things that people can implement into the recovery, whether it's a 12-step program or any other program, is being of service to somebody else. That's what truly lights my spirit. And that's why I'm on a book tour talking about my book and the importance of giving back and helping someone else.
And again, if you attend this book tour in Branford at the Root Center for Advanced Recovery, for a $5 admission fee, you get to hear Matt share his powerful story, but you also get a complimentary of his book that will come out in August, God Doesn't Relapse, an incredible story. So, Matt, one of the things I know that you're really passionate about is that, listen, you want to reach addicts out there, you want to reach people who are in recovery, but also even just folks out there who are parents. I know your story, part of the problems and part of the challenges that you face, and you take personal accountability, but you said your father made some mistakes raising you. He wanted to be your best friend, and that sort of set some wheels in motion that created some real problems. So I know you want to reach parents out there of young children and teenagers as well.
I found my mom just recently passed away,
I'm
and
sorry.
it's an honor that both of my parents died knowing that I was sober. It's the best gift that I gave myself and to them. But I found a letter that my mom wrote to my father 30 years ago. It is so incredible. I just posted it on my social, and she knew who I was. She talked about my manipulation, lying, irresponsible behavior with money, and my father just couldn't. He was my best friend, but not my father and my biggest enabler.
Yeah.
And so that's often the dichotomy that I face is that one parent is on board with keeping boundaries and solidifying boundaries, and then there's always one parent that wants to blow through them. And so there's this myth that if my loved one goes to treatment and he gets better, then everything will be fine. And I'm trying to enroll families into doing their own work. And in my book, I talk about my 10,000 hours of sitting with families across the country, and it's part memoir, part case study. So I talk about the case studies with the families that didn't work, but I also illuminate the case studies with the families that did their own work with a therapist and that the family recovered together. It's so crucial that families do their own work as well.
And Matt, another thing that I think is really powerful about your story is that even though you highlight some of the mistakes that your father made, including he bought you a prostitute when you were 16 years old, he took you out gambling, which also led to some bad habits. Yet at the same time, even though you say your father had some missteps, and he was well-intentioned, he loved you, he wanted to be your best friend, but he made some mistakes. But you also take a lot of personal accountability. I know in a lot of your social media posts you say, listen, I was not just a drug addict and an alcoholic and a sex addict, but also I was really kind of a jerk. I also was manipulating people. Some of the issues that you had were not just tied solely to the substance abuse. So even though people made mistakes bringing you up, you take a lot of personal accountability, which I'm sure you think is really important for any addict out there or anybody in recovery.
Thank God I surrounded myself with a group of men that told me what I needed to hear, not what I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
It's so essential, and pain really was the only thing that made me willing to listen to those men, along with my mom who saved my life and said, if you're going to die, it's not going to be in this house. Get out, I'm changing the locks. And I held her hostage for 13 years. I didn't show up, I lied, I stole, I pawned. And it's essential that I moved away from being a victim to a survivor, right? And these group of guys said that there's a lot of people that have had trauma in their life, but you're an adult now and you're responsible to clean up your side of the street. And it's your responsibility to be an adult.
What's your message, Matt, to people who may be struggling with substance abuse, sex abuse, gambling addiction, who feel like there is no hope? Because obviously you were really as low as you can go, and somehow you were able to pull your bootstraps up. I know you had plenty of people that you found in your life that you say obviously played a big role in helping you as well. But what would your message be to people that might feel hopeless right now?
Well, specifically, there's a lot of people who can't afford the ancillary services in the addiction space. I worked primarily with high net worth families because that's who could afford those services.
Right.
But if you're someone who's struggling and you don't have a lot of resources, service work and prayer, those are the two things that save my life. It's what fills my spirit. Addicts need purpose and self-esteem. And my mentor said, if you want self-esteem, then you need to do esteemable things. And you can start, if you have 10 days of recovery, you can help someone with 2 days. And when you start to care for someone else more than you care about yourself, that's when things can start to shift. And then prayer, a lot of people just quit, right? And I got on my knees every day, and I still do. And I had a white light experience. Most people don't have that experience, but if you have a daily routine of prayer and service, you will start to see a shift in your recovery.
And again, we're so happy to be joined by Matt Grace. He is an addiction expert, also a recovering addict, more than 20 years sober. Congratulations for that. Also, congratulations for your new memoir, God Doesn't Relapse, Sex, Drugs, and the Life That Almost Killed Me. You can get a complimentary copy of the book if you go see Matt speak at the Center for Advanced Recovery, the Root Center for Advanced Recovery in Branford Clinic. It's $5 admission, and you do get a copy of Matt's book when it comes out next month. And Matt, we only have less than a minute remaining, but what about your message for folks out there who have family members, loved ones, or friends that are struggling with addiction? What would you tell them?
If you could afford it, I would find a family therapist, because one of the families that had the most success that I worked with them for 1 full year. And this mother and father went to see a family therapist once a week, every week for 1 full calendar year. And then the whole family learned how to communicate, right? Because they weren't even speaking to each other. So the parents or husband or whoever you're related to, they have to do their own work. And I think setting boundaries is healthy, and setting boundaries can save lives.
Again, Matt Grace, again, he just wrote a new book, God Doesn't Relapse, Sex, Drugs, and the Life That Almost Killed Me. He's going to be speaking at a very special place, the Root Center for Advanced Recovery, their Branford Clinic. They do such important work, Matt. $5 admission, and you get a free complimentary copy of Matt's new book when it comes out in August. Again, Matt, I really appreciate you spending some time with us here on Eyewitness News Unscripted. Good luck with your book, and good luck with your book tour, and hopefully I hope you reach a lot of people with your inspiring message.
Thank you so much.